Alright, this is the furthest I've gotten in one of these Duelist Cup events so far. Happened to be the World Championship qualifiers, so I guess we'll get the cosmetics this time. Woo. You can see we this isn't completely updated yet, but we're pretty confident that we got like top 500 global, maybe top 400, and like top 30 NA. Because, you know, there's a pretty big YCS 2-day event going on in NA, so a lot of people, you know, weren't able to participate. Thanks Konami for the scheduling. Anyways, we played about 200-ish. I'll have the stats up here. Played about 200 duels for the World Championship qualifier. We won about 120 out of 200, so it's like a 60% win rate ish. And it would have been higher, but here's the deck I ended up. I wish I. So the thing is, I've not played this deck for the entire event. Okay, this is Melffy Spright. For the first 2 days of the event, I played Tearlaments, and I was like sucking absolute ass. Like it was unbelievable. I was hard stuck 18k for like the longest time. Could not even get to 20. Then for literally the last day, I switched to Melffy Spright, and I shot up to 31k DP with like 3 hours left. And I was even more upset because I was like, damn, if I had just played this deck at the start, you know, we might have a chance to do something. But instead, I got baited by trying to play Tier. And oh, believe me, I'm gonna have another video up discussing my thoughts on Tier. You get ready for some spicy takes on Tier in the current state of Master Duel, and it's gonna rust with some jimmies. Anyway, this is a common theme is well, I guess I'll get that later. This is the Melffy Spright. It's pretty standard. I'm sure you've all seen Sprite lists like this right now. I'm running like all the usual Sprite cards plus the Nimble Beaver, since you can add Nimble Beaver as a caddy target, so you run this over any other level 2 engine, plus the frogs. The frogs are really important for Exceeds material and stuff, and link material, because you're going on, you want to make Melffy of the Forest as your end board, so you need extra materials. So swap frogs are really good for that. And then all the staple like hand traps, Maxi, Ash Blossom, BD Crow, Imperm, I think those are really standard. I think Valor is still decently good because it at least does something against Flu, as well as it's still good against Tier. Like it's as good as an Imperm a lot of the time. So, and then for like we run the Called by the Graves and the Crossout designators for the anti-maxi stuff. Gamma Burst is like a goated card. This card is a absolute staple if you're playing Spright in Master Duel, because if you get Max Seed, this is your win condition. This is like pretty much your only win condition when you get Max Seed going second. Like you just flat out kill them. And I guess the spot that's questionable in the main deck is Skullmeister. So I want to run a lot of hand traps because against Tier, you still need to open 2 hand traps in order to win going second most of the time. So this was like additional copies of Crow that I used, and it can stop like the Millers and stuff. It can stop them Sullyx and Grave and stuff like that, you know, if you care about that. I probably should not have run Skullmeister. I don't think Skullmeister was the pick. I'm not running Shifter either, and I will defend my reasoning for running Shifter. Because, first of all, I don't think Shifter is necessarily that great in Spright, because I said this before, if you're going first, it hampers your ability to go first a lot of time. And if you're going first with this deck and you resolve your combo, you're gonna beat Tier anyways. I've not lost a single game against Tier where I have resolved my combo going first. So like you don't need D Shifter for that, and it oftentimes even hurts you. And going second, right? A lot of times when I was playing Tier myself, I still won half the games where I got D shifted, because what I did was I would make Baguska, which is not that hard when in a deck with that many level 4 extenders. And when you get Baguska, right, you're not going to end the game. Like, it's impossible to kill them through Baguska unless you like draw specifically Imperm. But that means that the shifter will wear off by the time it gets back to their turn, then they can start playing the game again. And it's like the shifter, like, it sawed out for a turn, but they sawed you out for a turn. So it's like it didn't accomplish. At least that's what I've noticed. Like, shifter was not an auto win against me when I played tier myself, so that's why I didn't consider it to be absolutely necessary for the tier matchup. And second reason why I don't believe shifter was the right choice, because in the high rankings, like the high 20Ks, 30Ks, or higher DP rankings, people weren't on tier as much as you would believe. Like, it was nowhere near tier 0 representation. I would say, I confidently would say that over half my matchups were against non-tier decks. And specifically, the non-tier decks you would face would be something like the mirror match, like Spright, or it would be Exosister, or it would be Flu. And you don't want shifter against any of those matchups. Like, you just do not want that. It's pretty much only for the tier matchup at that point. And if you're facing tier less than half the time, like on the ladder or the high or your specific elo range, then like I don't think shifter was worth it. What was worth it though was this was like the card of the weekend of the event. Ghost Reaper and Wind of Cherries. This card might have been one of, after, you know, Maxi, Infirm stuff, maybe Crow, like this was the next best hand trap to run. Because this is a format where Cherries is good against multiple decks. I'll say it first off, if you were strictly running Cherries for Tearlaments and all you did was put a kit in your extra deck, like you were doing it wrong. You were gonna get cooked. There was clearly 4 very prominent decks up in the high ranks of the World Championship qualifier. They were tier, obviously, Spright, Exosister, and Flu. Now, obviously, you're not gonna do, like, this isn't gonna do jack to Flu, but against the other matchups, say you put in a single Michaelis in your extra and a single kit, and now suddenly you have a hand trap that's extremely high impact against 3 of the 4 best decks of the format. Just like incredible coverage. Like, that's coverage is basically as good as Maxi. Like, very good against, like, outstanding against every deck you're gonna play except Flu. You know, there's a reason people still play Flu, but yeah. So going on to that, then I optimally, if I wanted to grind and get my invite this way, I would have played a few Cherries, and then I would have put Kit and Michaelis in the extra deck, and then I would take out Unicorn probably, and maybe an Almirage, so my extra deck would look like this. Now, obviously, I did not do that because I did not want to craft Cherries to literally use for 3 days, and then probably not touch this card again for, like, months, or, like, a year, or whatever. Like, this is the only time I've ever wanted to run Cherries. You know, 9 UR dust for 3 days is very good value, I hear. So, I mean, yeah, basically, the extra deck you got Herald and Mary Melffy was just a bounce for the... It's the other level 4 single you can make with Penny. Then you have the Melffy up the forest, obviously, to add the caddy to your hand. Nubimar is just removal. The 2 Gigantics, the Downerd for Zeus, IP, double Sprite Elf, and Crusading Avermax to protect your Herald, and Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. This is extremely important. You need this to run over Baguska. A lot of times, if you hand trap like tier deck to infinity, they'll often have the resources to make a rank 4, in which case they'll often make Baguska, and Baguska stonewalls you from doing anything until you get it off the field. So this is really important just to be able to run over it and play in main phase 2. And yeah, and obviously we have the 2 Cherry Stargates. If you don't want to run the Cherry Stargates, understandable. Like if you're going to play this on a like normal ladder, put in any hand trap you want in this slot, Skullmeister, Shifter, whatever, and then you play Almirage. Almirage to make Swap Frog a 1-card combo. That's the only reason. That is the only reason Almirage is in here. So Swap Frog, if you don't open with any other level 2 extender, is still full combo. And then put I would put you either put Unicorn. You either put Unicorn in this slot, or you put Sky Cavalry Centauria. Yeah, one of these two as the 15th extra deck slot. I'm putting Unicorns so for edge cases where I don't want to make Abramax with IP. I made it a couple times, but yeah. This is the deck I used, and let's show you how the deck plays in the replays. Alright, first replay. We're going second, and our opponent's on tier. We're gonna go Sharon, hit a name, get a Sharon, and fuse into Kikalos, and we're gonna Valor the Kikalos. You know, stop them right there. Then they're gonna normal Rhino Heart. You know, it's very unfortunate how we only opened one hand trap. You often need 2 hand traps to stop them. This is for some reason going to Draco's Lapelia and Time Thief Redoer with a Sharon as material. So this is at least 2 interruptions plus whatever traps they have. And they're gonna take a Valor. Now, could have really used that. We're gonna normal summon Swap Frog. That's gonna get Draco's Lapelia. So now no longer. Not only does it like not dump swap, but it dump Ronin Totem, but it's also a level 1, so it's useless for us. We're gonna return to hand though, because we drew Penny. Penny is a water monster. And we're gonna Special Frog, they're gonna Redoer, and we're gonna chain Sprite Starter to their Redoer so that Starter gets on the field before Redoer leaves and detaches Sharon. Now, we're gonna activate Sharon, and we're gonna negate the Sharon with the Sprite Red that we just summoned. Unfortunately, they have the Imperm, but we have the Crossout Designator. This is the main thing I use Crossout for the entire weekend. I only used it for Imperm pretty much. So now we get to negate their fusion effect of Sharon from detached off Redoer, special summon the Carrot, and then revive Ronin Totem by banishing a Swap Frog. Now we're gonna go into Gigantic Sprite, and Gigantic will summon out Blue, and then we get Blue to add Jet, summon Jet, get Smashers. We're gonna go into Sprite Elf. Right now this is really annoying because Draco's Lapelia is very huge and we can't really efficiently out it without setting up our board. So instead we're just gonna let them have the Redoer back. And then when they attempt to enter battle phase, we revive the Sprite Blue to get a search. And then when they enter battle phase, we're gonna Smashers away the Draco's Lapelia, so that all we have to deal with is 1 Redoer. So Redoer is gonna run over the red, which is fine. We have a full field now, and they're gonna go into Zeus. Normal summon Keldo, and they're not gonna fire off the Zeus for some reason. So because we're just gonna make Onibimaru and force out the Zeus anyways, right? And they revealed I have a Crossout set. They're gonna banish Maxi for some reason, but we're a sack and we drew Starter. So now this is, yeah, we're gonna add Gammaverse with Jet, and that would have been game. This is just showcasing the most basic combo this deck has when we go first. Literally normal summon Nemo Beaver to any 2 level 2 monsters to make Gigantic. You can go Gigantic into Blue, Blue add Jet, Special Jet, Jet add Starter, go into Elf, Elf revive Beaver, exceeds Beaver and Jet into Melffy of the Forest, Melffy of the Forest add Caddy, and then Starter for Carrot, and then in the end phase special summon Caddy. So yeah, just any 2 level 2 monsters lets you end on a spell or a monster negate of your choice, plus a Caddy, which represents a level 4 Synchro on your opponent's turn, which can be a Herald or a Bounce. And that's just with one, essentially like 2 monsters and 1 card. So that means the rest of your hand is probably hand traps, like so. Now our opponent reveals their Ontario. They draw Purple Rhino. We're absolutely not letting the Purple Rhino resolve. Then they're gonna Scream, and on the activation of Scream, we're gonna revive Blue. I probably should have revived earlier. You want to revive earlier to play around first action, main phase, dump Ishizu, dump a Shuffler to nullify Elf. They're gonna summon Seamare, which is really bad for them because Seamare is not a tier name, so it does not trigger Scream. That means we're gonna add Caddy back to our hand. We're gonna dump Halfness, and we're gonna crow the hell out of that Halfness. And that, yeah. This board is really hard to break when you're backed up with any hand traps, which you will be almost all the time because you run so many in this deck. Okay, next match. Okay, so this is a. I want to point out the reasoning for this play. Okay, this hand is obviously a brick. All we have is Caddy, and Caddy is like represents 1 level 4 Synchro on your opponent's turn, which is, you know, by itself it's not that good because Herald just gets run over, and what's this card called? Yeah, Mary Melffy is just a single bounce. But you still normal summon Caddy. You do not wait for end phase to special summon this. You normal summon this because the moment you normal summon any level 2, your opponent is gonna max you because they fear the Sprite cards in your hand. We don't have any, but they don't know that. So yeah, we normal summon this, and they just waste their maxi for no reason when I had no other plays. So you know, good on you going -1 for that. Next, you're gonna reveal their adventure cards, which is like I haven't seen these in months. They're gonna activate right, get the token, and on the token we're gonna activate Caddy. It's gonna get ashed. You know, unfortunate. You know, maxi ash versus brick hand. It's pretty good. Then they're gonna E-Telly for Xiamen. This I have no idea why. By the way, in perm column. By the way, in perm column. We get the 2-for-1 in perm. Negate their Xiamen and negate their Fateful Venture. Sick. Next, they're gonna go into Yazi. Yazi pop the Caddy. They're gonna try to summon from the deck, and we're gonna Skullmeister the hell out of Yazi. Like Skullmeister absolutely cooks Yazi up, which no other hand trap does. So like just randomly playing Skullmeister, like absolutely destroyed this P.U.N.K adventure deck. So anyway, we draw Swap Frog. They're gonna get their Draco back now. That does not matter at all because 1 Swap Frog is full combo. Dump Ronin, go into Almirage, revive Ronin, banishing Swap, go into Elf, revive Ronin, then go into a 3200 Gigantic. Gigantic will summon Blue from our deck, then add Jet, Special Jet, add Gamma Burst, and this is 8k. Yeah, anytime you have 3 monsters that can attack directly, plus Gamma Burst, that's game. This is another game where we brick. You know, I mean, we did brick, but we also have 4 disruptions in our hand. So really, is that really that bad? Oh, we're against Exosister. Yes, it's actually that bad because Skullmeister is actually sucks. But fortunately, Maxi resolves. So we're gonna get Marfa, get Alice, normal summon. That's very smart on them. Normal summon a Shuffler, cast Patel effect. We're gonna negate the cast Patel. So obviously, we don't want them to get their Magnificent going. Then they're gonna use very smart. They're gonna use Shuffler to trigger their own Marfa. And unfortunately for them, we have another imperm, so you know it's yeah, and they can't go into Deuce because Marfa locks them. So now watch this play. Normal summon Skullmeister, beat over the Marfa. The Skullmeister is just like proving itself time and time again as like the hand trap with the most niche users that always come up. Now they're gonna use Caspiel again, and we got the Ash. They must be punching their screen right now. Like, we're just not letting them add any more Exo cards to their hand. We're gonna summon another Shuffler, attack over our Skullmeister. And there's no point Zeus now because they don't have enough materials for an activation. Now, we drew a level 2, thank god. We drew the absolute worst level 2 in our deck, but it doesn't matter because all we needed to do was summon Jet and for some reason they're gonna trigger Keldo to put back. I remember this. They banished Keldo so that they would have less monsters on field than I would. Then that way they can trigger Ghost Reaper, because Ghost Reaper was the card of the weekend, and they are running Gigantic Spright. Exosister players, I got cherries so many times by Exosister players for my Gigantic Spright. It was absolutely sickening. I got cherries like 5 times more playing Spright than I did as Tier. Well, I was just playing like without Gigantic against half my Exosister matchups. Like it was kind of rough. Unfortunately for them, we hard drew Gamma Burst, so we're gonna add starter, get Spright Blue effect, get Spright Red, specials, or go into Onibimaru, clear the Caspedel, special summon Spright Red, and then attack for game with Gamma Burst. Well, yeah, get your cherries BS out of here. Alright, this game, we're going second, and our opponent's on Spright. This is the mirror match. So we're gonna, you just maxi the first level 2. Unfortunately, they have to call it by, so I guess this Imperm's gonna have to get us there. Unfortunately, their only level 2 is Swap Rock, so they have to do this, do the 1-card Swap Rock combo, which is really weak to an Imperm. As soon as they make Gigantic, we Imperm it, and that should be the end of the turn. Which it is. You're gonna set 1, but unfortunately they hard drew the Caddy. Caddy is really good because Caddy is not a Garnet. You want to search this, but if you draw this, that's perfectly fine. Because then that just saves you material on board that you don't have to use to go into the Melffy of the Forest. So they have a back row plus Caddy as an interruption. We're gonna normal summon Beaver. We're gonna use Caddy effect. And I'm gonna chain Imperm. And so what's gonna happen in their mind is they're gonna negate the Beaver so that I only have the level 2 on the field. Then they're gonna Caddy into Merry Melffy to bounce my Beaver back to hand. That way I do not control a level 2 monster. I wouldn't be able to do anything without drawing starter. But we drew hard drew Smashers, so I use Smashers to banish the Jet from my hand. So that way we banish the Beaver. And then the Beaver will dodge the Imperm, and the Smashers will banish the Caddy so they can no longer make the Merry Melffys by adding Penny. And now we get the Beaver on the field, and then we special summon Blue as our last card. It gets a Jet, and they were sick, bro. They just left straight up after that. I did not have game in any sort of fashion whatsoever, but you know, probably we were definitely winning that because they had no more interruptions. So I truly, honestly believe that Melffy Spright was the best deck to play for this type of format. This type of 3-day non-stop grinding event. Melffy Spright has the best matchup spread out of any deck besides, like, you know, Tier, because Tier beats everything theoretically, but there's a reason everybody who was playing Tier pretty much in the high rank switched off Tier, because you're not going to be able to play a deck like Tier properly if you're playing for 50 plus hours over like a 3-day span. Like, it's just not going to happen. Ask Josh, ask the #1 Japanese player, ask Judeo at like, well, actually I think Judeo was the only one that played Tier throughout. Like, ask Raymond Young Dai, the NA rank 2, who switched off Tier into Exosisters and proceeded to do way better for like the next 2 days with that deck. Like, yeah, so this Spright is just good against, like, it's still tolerable against Tier. Like, obviously Tier is still like the better deck on paper, but Spright does fine. And then Spright is really good against Exosisters, and it's really good against Flu. So yeah, and the games are fast. This deck is not too hard to play. It's pretty simple. So like, you can just grind out games with this, which is like what I did. Like, I climbed so much faster with this. It was like, it's unbelievable. You know how much better my performance was during the event with Melffy Spright than Tier. And well, I alluded to this earlier, but if I've uploaded the video, here's my thoughts on the state of Tearlaments in Master Duel and some why it's very different from the TCG and OCG in a lot of ways that haven't been discussed nearly enough in my mind. So go check out this video that I'll have soon.